What if Koba didn't die in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? At the end of 2014's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the second film in the rebooted Planet of the Apes franchise, the story of Caesar and Koba, two friends turned enemies, reaches its end. After turning on his former best friend, who was once like a brother to him, and leading a rogue army of apes into a human-ape war fueled by his rage and lust for revenge, Koba is ultimately confronted by Caesar, who's able to overpower and defeat Koba before sending him to his death, believing him to be too dangerous to be left alive. But what if that wasn't the case? What if the end of the film had played out differently? What if Koba had, through one way or another, survived?
Caesar has no place here. Apes follow Koba now. Follow Koba to war. Apes win war! Apes together, strong!
There are two potential scenarios to be explored here. The first is a large but simple change to the story we got, and that would be, what if Koba just somehow managed to survive the fall? Had this occurred, it likely would have been revealed in either a post-credit scene, which would essentially just be a more definitive and visual version of the sound we hear at the end of the credits that was meant to tease Koba's possible survival, or it would have been something that we would have found out about early on in the next film. The other scenario would have been a much more radical departure from the story we got, which would have seen Caesar, instead of letting Koba fall to his death, lift him back up and spare his life. Had this happened instead, I believe we would have seen Caesar give Koba the opportunity to flee, and for all of the apes who stayed loyal to him to go along with him, with the rest of the ending of the film remaining pretty much unchanged. There's definitely some question as to whether or not that choice would have worked thematically, or if it would have been a satisfying and consistent choice for audiences in regards to Caesar's arc, but for the sake of the hypothetical, let's just say that it worked. Regardless of the way in which Koba might have made it out of the film alive, I believe that his role in the following film, which of course would be War for the Planet of the Apes, would remain the same either way. In this hypothetical third film that could have featured Koba's return, what I believe we would have seen from the character is an arc similar to that of Red, aka Donkey, the gorilla who once was loyal to Koba, but joined the humans in their war with Caesar and his apes.
I know fear you. You must fear. How long you think woods can protect you?
For the most part, had Koba been left alive and had played a role in war, I think the film's story as a whole would have been generally the same as the movie that we saw, but instead of having Donkey be the one to team up with the humans and help take down Caesar, I think this is where Koba would have been used instead. In the wake of Koba's defeat by Caesar and failure to take control of his tribe or takedown of the humans, I think the story would have naturally led to a broken and beaten down version of Koba, one who would, hypothetically, be so angry at Caesar and what he did, and be so hell-bent on revenge that his hatred towards humans could no longer even matter to him. And it would be with that newfound mindset and goal that an opportunity to work with them against Caesar just might be too appealing to pass up. I know that some of you might find that a little too unrealistic of a move for Koba to make, or that it would be too inconsistent with his character to make sense as to why, after wanting nothing but death and destruction for humans, he would now suddenly be willing to team up with them. And hey, I'm not a screenwriter, so maybe it is exactly that, and maybe this what-if scenario is just the ramblings of a nerd theorizing about movies about talking apes. But I still think that the potential for an interesting and compelling story is there. Had Matt Reeves decided to keep Koba alive and use him this way in the next film, I think it would have been him that we see at the beginning of the film, leading his remaining loyal apes and now humans he's partnered up with against Caesar. and not Red, who most likely would not even be a character in this version of War. However, where I think things would have differed from Red's story with Koba taking his place in it is that I believe we would have seen more resistance from him towards the Colonel and his human army throughout the film, with more moments of him taunting or even planning to make his move to kill Caesar against the Colonel's wishes, as opposed to simply doing his bidding until the end. It's there where we could have seen Koba begin a possible journey towards redemption for his actions in Dawn, as he would likely realize that the Colonel would have no hesitation in killing him no different than if he were any other ape, because the Colonel, as we saw in the film, is always the one who needs to be in control, and Koba having ulterior and personal motives for wanting Caesar there just might push him to do just that. Amidst that hypothetical conflict and tension between what would have been our two main villains, Caesar would, similar to how he did with Red, take the opportunity to plead with Koba and help him see the light, and from there, I think there would be two logical directions that could be taken. Either A, Koba would take the same route that Red did in War and redeem himself, or B, Koba would reject Caesar's pleas, stick to his guns, and let revenge drive him to attempt to kill Caesar one more time, which would inevitably result in a second fight of some kind between the two of them, with Koba ultimately being killed for good this time.
Koba still haunts us. Why didn't I see that he could not forgive what humans did to him?
As for a possible redemption, I think we would have seen a bit more from him than a simple shooting of a human followed by his own death. I believe that Koba would have found a way to help Caesar and the apes escape before wreaking havoc on as many humans as he can before ultimately being taken out by them. Both scenarios could have potentially worked well, so personally I'm not 100% sure which way I would want them to go. However, I do think that a redemption for Koba following what we saw of him in Dawn would probably be a bit more narratively satisfying. Whether or not his story would have played out the way I think it would, the question of what if Koba lived opens up what would have been some undoubtedly really interesting possibilities. His character, as well as his relationship with Caesar, lends himself to some really great drama, which is always more than welcome in a Planet of the Apes story. But I want to know what you guys think. In this hypothetical what-if world where Koba survived the ending of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, what do you think would happen? Something along the lines of what I talked about here? Something else entirely? And regardless of the direction gone with it, is Koba surviving something you would have liked to see? And I'd also love to know if you guys want me to do more what-if videos like this, and if so, what ideas do you have for possible what-if scenarios in the Planet of the Apes universe? I want you to leave all of your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for checking out today's video here on Ape Nation. If you like what I do here and want to show your support, be sure to hit the like button. You can also join the Ape Nation Discord server for daily discussions about the franchise, and if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on all things film and entertainment outside of Planet of the Apes, you can now check out my other channel, The Real Deal. If you're interested in seeing more of my videos here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things apes. I'll catch you in the next one, so until then, goodbye.